Today is Saturday, the 18th of April 2026, and I am visiting St James's Park for the first time since primary school to watch my childhood team play Bournemouth in the Premier League. I arrived with the crowds pouring into St James's Park and noticed the Bobby Robson statue. So I'm here at the Gallagate stand. It's Saturday, 18th of April, Exemplar Voices match day, Newcastle United v Bournemouth, which is Eddie Howe's former team. Big game atmosphere today in the Toon and around the stadium. There really is like that great match day Saturday feeling in the city. We've just enjoyed our food, Scott and I, over at the restaurant, which he very kindly treated me to a lovely lunch, which was very nice. We've had a nice stroll up to the stadium. All the fans are going into the stadium now. I'm just going to walk over. We've just been over there at the Bobby Robson statue, which was really nice. And I'm now making my way into the stadium. My seat is in the Gallagate end. I've got to go to turnstile 50 to 52, I believe. I'm really looking forward to the game. I'm really excited. And it's my first time here since 1985 when I came to St James's Park with my school when it was all terraces. A long time ago. And I'm happy to be here, making the most of the day. And it's a big game for Newcastle and Eddie Howe after the Derby loss and then losing away at Palace, and we have Arsenal next. So today the fans are expecting a win. We're hoping for a win. I'm hoping for a win. I think it'll be a tough game. Bruno's on the bench. Trippier's on the bench. And I think it'll be a tough game. I'm going to make a prediction. I do think it could be a draw. I don't think we're going to lose. We might win. I'm going to say 3-1 Newcastle. That's my prediction for the match. 3-1 Newcastle. So I'm going to go into the stadium now. I'm going to find my turnstile, get my seat. I'll take some footage from inside the stadium, and I'll see you back here shortly. All the best. As I entered the Gallagate end, I felt a mixture of excitement, joy and anticipation. Bournemouth were in form whilst Newcastle have been struggling, but I was optimistic as we were on home turf with the 12th man. After entering the stadium, I navigated the concourse and soaked up the matchday energy. I arrived at the top of the stairwell to the sight of 50,000 Newcastle fans singing. I picked up a flag and waved the flag to Hey Jude by the Beatles and felt waves and waves of happiness and joy. The game kicked off and the Toon Army were hopeful but nervous due to recent bad form. In the dugout, Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall strategised, discussed and took notes. Newcastle started the game badly, were losing midfield battles and giving the ball away easily, while Bournemouth looked comfortable in possession, displayed fluid movement and appeared to knock the ball around easily. Newcastle were chasing the game, which fueled the tension in the stadium. As the tension rose in the stadium, Howe and Tyndall rose from the dugout and approached the touchline. Bournemouth continued to apply pressure and pressured the Newcastle goal. Newcastle were routinely dispossessed by an energetic Bournemouth who were well organised, physical and controlling of the midfield. Then, on 32 minutes, and only a few minutes later, playmaker Tonali displayed some flair and Newcastle attempted to utilise the flanks and the breadth of the pitch in the final third to no avail, as Bournemouth were solid and bullish in defence. Newcastle went in the tunnel 1-0 down at half-time and returned to the pitch for the second half. Newcastle were rejuvenated from the off in the second half, more organised, fast, played some decent football, pressured Bournemouth's fullbacks with intricate passing and intelligent movement. Whilst being 1-0 down was frustrating, it was joyful to watch my childhood team play some decent football, and the Toon Army were hopeful of a comeback. Elanga and Ramsey were subbed for Murphy and Bruno, which invigorated the crowd further with hope. Then, in the 68th minute, whilst a very long VAR check killed the celebration, Newcastle were back in it and in the driving seat at 1-1. Newcastle searched for a second but fell short, and a resilient Bournemouth dug in and persevered. Newcastle appeared to stall, fumble and run out of energy and fight, whilst Bournemouth just seemed to wear us down and again just took control of the game like in the first half. Took control of the midfield and possession and were so comfortable on the ball, and then in the 85th minute, to the rapturous joy of the travelling away fans, nobody's perfect, but being a Geordie is close enough. Full time at St James's Park. Very disappointing game of football. Final score, Bournemouth 2, Newcastle 1. Very frustrating to watch. An emotional roller coaster. In the first half, Newcastle just can't keep the ball, and they were booed at half time, conceded a goal. For me, there's a lack of presence and leadership on the pitch, and also a lack of accountability for mistakes. You know, they give the ball away over and over and over again, and you can see the goal coming. And there just doesn't seem to be presence on the pitch to hold people to account for mistakes. And so, disappointing first half. Newcastle were booed at the end of the first half. And then they came out better, a lot better in the second half. And They kept possession, made substitutes, kept possession in the second half for good parts of the second half. But then as Bournemouth came back into the game after Newcastle levelled and made it 1-1, they scored again. And it just killed the game, that third goal. Bournemouth second, making it 2-1. It killed the game. And the Geordies started leaving towards the end, very upset. I heard a few people saying Eddie's done. I don't think he'll get sacked yet, but at the moment, but yeah, he looked under pressure there on the touchline. And I was watching the body language of Jason Tindall and Eddie Howe on the touchline there, and I don't know, there's just something about it for me. They weren't communicating a lot. And yeah, just an interesting observation there. Booed again at the end of the match. So I had my expectations very low because I just wanted to enjoy the match day experience, enjoy the day out, the pre-match atmosphere, the food, the connection with my friend Scott, the flags and the banners, and the match day experience, and I have enjoyed it very much. It was brilliant, and the result is disappointing, and Eddie Howe and Newcastle are in a bit of trouble now. They're near the bottom of the table, and it only gets tougher. They got Arsenal next, and Eddie Howe's going to have to find a way to regroup and motivate them to get back on track in the next game against Arsenal. Smash a like on the vlog. This is the Frontline series, Northeast football we're doing mostly at the moment. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Share the video. And that's it from me on the front line at St James's Park. Match day, Newcastle v Bournemouth on Saturday the 18th of April. Final score, Bournemouth 2, Newcastle 1. Look after yourselves and each other and all those that you care about around you. And I'll see you soon next time. All the best.